great intro. Anyways, Stafford and Matthews, episode 17. As always, Chris Matthews, former Seahawk and Raven, and myself, Joe Stafford, and of course, our intern, Kev the intern. What's going on? Straight from New York. Powered by Colin Covers, at Colin Covers on Instagram. Make sure you shout them out and look them up. If you need any sporting advice, sports betting at all, check them out. They are the mastermind. They are authentic. They are for real, and they will make you money. So that's all you should need to know. Colin Covers on Instagram. Check them out. Chris, what's going on?
I'm good, bro. I'm good, man. Just enjoying these times with my daughter and pushing on.
Yeah. How was New Year's?
On.
Exactly. How was New Year's?
Man, it was amazing. What about yours?
It was pretty good. It was low key. We kept it low key. Didn't want to make any ruckus or anything, especially during these tough times. But Kev, how was your New Year's? What'd you do?
It was good. A little quiet, same as you. Just a few friends, but that's all you need.
There we go.
Yeah.
Nice.
It was just me and my family, and I got super loaded, so that's why.
I think we all did. I think we need to set up 2020 with just like one last hurrah and kind of just send it out into the sunset here. But 2021, I mean, is not guaranteed to be better, but it's kind of hard to get worse than 2020. So I'm hoping we can go a little bit at least up there, and hopefully have, yeah. But hopefully have a normal summer and everything. So we'll see. Anyway, week 17 in the NFL was a doozy. Set of the playoff spots for the wildcard round coming next week. And by the way, I am so excited for that, just for the fact that we have 3 games on Saturday and Sunday each. That is perfect. 1 o'clock, 4 o'clock, and 8:30 on Saturday and Sunday. Fuck me up, dude. That's the best schedule I've ever had in my life. That is great. I can't wait to watch that kind of slate there.
Absolutely, bro. It's gonna be one of those double 40 ounces and knock them back real quick and just sit on the couch and chill.
Yeah, no, there's not a better feeling in the world than just sitting back and watching a football game for 4 hours. And then guess what? Another game coming on again for another 4 hours. It's the best schedule in the world for anybody, but definitely. All right, week 17. Starting off with the first game, the Falcons and the Buccaneers. By the way, every game was on Sunday this week. Week 17 is always a doozy. There's always a huge packed schedule, 16 games, 32 teams, no bye week. So the first game was Falcons-Buccaneers. 44-27 is the final score. 11 wins for the Bucs since the first time since 2005, which is a huge benchmark. Tom Brady also eclipsed 40 passing touchdowns. That's the most ever in Buccaneers history, which is impressive. 2 shout out to the GOAT there. He passed for 399 yards and 4 touchdowns and a pick. In the decisive win against Atlanta, had some help from Ronald Jones and the most help from Call God himself, Antonio Brown, 11 receptions, 138 yards, and 2 touchdowns. There we go. Chris is celebrating. Chris has been a huge AB guy. Chris, how did you feel to see AB shining out there for the first time really since his suspension?
I was so happy. To see him get back into his, I mean, it wasn't really his old form because, we didn't get to see all the spectacular catches and also run after catches like that. But overall, it was still a great day, just to watch him and be able to perform and, see a smile on his face and raising up the call guy sign. It was just amazing to be able to see all of that again from, arguably one of the best receivers I've seen in my lifetime.
For sure. And I think talent standpoint, you have no argument to you. There's no way you can fault that argument. But it's talent based and even just experience based. This guy's one of the best of all time. I think it's bar none. I don't really think there's a question about that. But as we're starting to come into this era now, there start to be a lot more character concerns. Maybe that affects his Hall of Fame status. But at least for me, I don't think character should determine anything that you do in the football field because it has nothing to do with anything you do in the football field. Mm-hmm. What you do, like I got with Terrell Owens. If you're a perennial All-Pro, perennial Pro Bowler, nothing you do or say should influence how you are viewed on the field. That's bullshit. That should not be happening. Unless you're that cancerous to your team where you're now making it impossible for you to win, that's a different story. But on the field prowess, on the field activity, on the field ability, that should not be influenced by character or quotes or anything of that sort. I really hate that argument.
If they are a cancer to the team, they just won't be on the team to be great, and nobody else would take them. So the fact that he's made it this long, it should show that he is one of the best players out there, that's to never, lace up the cleats as a wide receiver, and it should be shown as such. Put him in the Hall of Fame when it's time.
For sure. But also on the flip side of that, to be devil's advocate, talent always trumps, problems. You've seen it countless times. Antonio Brown's a great example of that. Steelers becomes a head case. gets cut, gets suspended, goes to the Patriots, gets suspended again after an allegation for sexual abuse from his college days. That was proven untrue. And then he was suspended again for another reasons. And he had this whole video with the police when it was his house. He was cussing them out on Instagram Live, and then Roger Goodell had a whole problem with that. And then he eventually goes unsigned. This offseason, he ends up going to the Buccaneers with Tom Brady again. But talent always trumps that stuff. I mean, even Josh Gordon, that's a great example too. Josh Gordon's gotten like a million different chances because people want to see the guy play. And unfortunately, Josh Gordon, with that case, he's had a number of substance abuse issues. I hope he comes back. God, I love Josh Gordon. I made an edit for him a couple weeks ago. Check that out on Ride the Wave Media. It's a great mix there. And it's
Gordon has had more chances than I've ever seen from anybody. And you're talking about people who are a problem off the field. In my opinion, AB is probably is probably the least of the problem. I mean, has least amount of problems off the field than the history of NFL of players who have had problems off the field. You know, I don't want to bring this team up, but you know, they're my team. But you look at the Ravens and what they've had to go through. Countless year in, year out, Hall of Fame players who have done stuff that is against society's views and still was able to play and win Super Bowls and go into the Hall of Fame. And not only do these players go into the Hall of Fame, it's first ballot. So I really don't see AB's problems off the field hindering him getting into the Hall of Fame. It's just a matter of when are they going to let him in? Is it going to be the first time around, the second time around? That's the thing that I really want to know, and hopefully it's what I think it is, and it's the first round.
Now, that's a good point. You bring up the Ravens, Ray Lewis, Ray Rice. There's been a number of incidents on that team. And when it comes to AB in the Hall of Fame, I probably will be second rounder. I mean, I have a gut feeling it'll be a kind of a T.O. situation where he has the ability, the numbers, and the recognition to be a first ballot Hall of Famer, but they might keep him out just because of all the stuff that he's gone through socially, which I think is wrong. I think is wrong. But I just think it's a gut feeling with me. I just do think they're going to keep him out at least the first time, which stinks, but I think it's the reality of it.
I remember Tony Dungy used to be like, I'm not worried about what you're doing at home. I'm worried about what you do when you come into these doors. That's something that everybody needs to stay hold to, because it's not like anybody's committing crimes on the football field. You know what I'm saying? They could. I don't know. Everywhere's different. I don't know. But generally, that's the case. There's nothing going on inside the facility, so it should be left right there.
Yeah, even your former coach, Pete Carroll, was like that. It was pretty much just like, come in the building, be prepared. But as long as you're prepared, I don't care what you do in your own free time. I don't care what you say and do everything. That's the way to coach, I think.
He's had some head cases for sure.
For sure. And Chris, I want to use if you could speak to kind of how Pete Carroll has been that kind of coach, that kind of mentor, and how he kind of lets his players run free. I kind of want to have an opinion based on a player that actually played for him. Yeah, well,
it's more so of a controlled, be free type of a thing. They'll let you know, like, yeah, you can be yourself, you can do your thing, but that comes with a price, and we all know what that price is, and it's coming out there and balling and consistently balling day in and day out. It's much just like the James Harden thing that's going on in the NBA, where he's been caught outside clubbing and doing all of this stuff, and it's not even just him. Like this is people going out and partying with celebrities and stuff like that in the NBA, NFL. They all go out and party. Coaches just don't say anything about it because they know that some of these players are actually going to come out there and ball again. So with Pete Carroll, I just think that that's something that honestly he figured out after his when he went back to SC, when he came back from the Jets. That's when I think he actually started being more of a player's coach and letting people be who they are, and managing it from there. And from that point on, you can see Pete Carroll's resume from when he got back to SC and all the way on up till now. He's been a winning coach.
For sure, 100%. I think you hit the nail on the head there. I mean, it's hard to argue with this record. I mean, it's been proven that as long as you be yourself, and Pete Carroll definitely is unapologetically himself.
Absolutely.
You get results. You get results. As long as you respect your players and everything, you get results. So that's good to hear. Anyway, next game. Dallas and the Giants, 23-19 is the final score. The New York Giants pull out a victory, but are prevented from making the playoffs.
Mm.
We'll get into the details of that because there's been a huge controversy brewing on social media and everywhere else over the results of the Eagles game that we'll get into that affected the Giants' stock in the playoffs. But let's focus on this game right now. Andy Dalton stunk it up. 29-47, 243 yards, 0 touchdowns and a pick. Did everything possible to keep his Cowboys out of contention. That's what he did. There's no way possible he went into this game thinking he was going to be dominating because it didn't show. I mean, 243 yards, yeah, not bad. 29-47, still very, very iffy. Then no touchdowns in the pick. I mean, it wasn't in the cards from that day. It wasn't in the cards for the Cowboys this year. I mean, as soon as Dak Prescott went down, we knew this team wasn't going to make the playoffs. So, tough end for Dallas, but they'll be back next year. If, this is assuming they could re-sign their star quarterback in Dak Prescott. Is that a reality that's 100% set? No, it's not, because Jerry Jones has been very cryptic about it. He's like, oh, we love Dak Prescott. Then immediate member will ask him whether or not they'll want to resign him. He's like, we're looking into that very seriously. That's what he say. He'll never commit to anything. It's like, dude, pay the guy or let him go. There's only two options. Don't tinker around. Don't tinker around. Don't let him just be in that weird franchise tag, purgatory. Figure it out. You need an identity. This season, you went 6-10. You have Andy fucking Dalton as your quarterback. You need an identity as a team. You need to make sure you either have Dak Prescott doing it or someone else.
I just think that it's something that it sounds like to me he's trying to make a play in a draft, just to shore up his quarterback. I mean his starting quarterback, which I ultimately think is going to be Dak Prescott. But he just wants to, come off on a serious injury like that. I'm pretty sure he's trying to shore up that back end, just in case if anything happens, which God bless, it doesn't happen to Dak Prescott again like that. But yeah, it just makes sense. It just makes sense.
Definitely. And the really reason I would kind of dispute that is because last season they had the opportunity to do what they were supposed to do this season. Pay the guy, but they didn't. He was healthy last offseason. It wasn't like he had a crazy injury last season. He asked for a crazy contract. He asked for like upwards of $40 million. Yeah. That, in my view, is insane. Like, I personally wouldn't pay Dak Prescott $40 million. I guess it's going rate. I understand it's going rate for a quarterback. I get it. But I wouldn't pay him $40 million. So I understand that Jerry Jones' reaction, kind of like, hey, slow your horse to see how this year goes and everything. Yeah. You franchise him. He gets hurt. He probably gets franchises again this year. I mean, I don't have a high expectation of him being signed to a max deal after this injury. I assume he gets franchised again, or maybe a 1-year deal for like 25, 26 million. But I don't know. I feel like Jerry's been pretty nonchalant about the whole thing. I feel like he hasn't wanted to commit to Dak Prescott for a long time. I feel like he's very hesitant to do so in the first place, even if he was healthy, which it causes some questions and concerns for that entire team in general. But I guess we'll have to wait and see on that front.
I just feel like that's hard, though. I just feel like that's hard because, last year he was trying to shore up the defense. The year before that, he was trying to shore up the offensive line. It's always been something in the way before he had to come to his quarterback. And luckily he had a quarterback that he can hold on to for a while and come down to this point right here where he can make a sound decision. I don't have nothing against Jerry Jones for, being a good businessman. That's essentially what he's trying to do, is be a good businessman and make these sound plays. And then to us looking at it, not being businessmen, we're looking at it as like, man, this is fucked up, and it's really not. It's just how the game goes. And that's just speaking on that factor. But there's other factors to Jerry Jones that are pretty iffy that you could probably name before, saying that he's being a bad businessman. Because I just think that whole thing right there of like how to pay somebody and when to pay somebody is more of like a businessman type of a thing.
No, point taken. I think I want to emphasize here, if I had been Jerry Jones, the first thing I would have done was paid Dak Prescott, because not only would it secure your team's foundation and kind of identity, but you would have saved yourself a ton of money in the long run. Every single year, the cap goes up and up and up for these quarterbacks. I remember when Matt Stafford was the highest paid quarterback in the NFL at $25 million. Now it's 40. That was 2 years ago.
Yeah.
It keeps going up and up and up. If you're as good a businessman as Jerry Jones wants us to make us believe, you would have paid him last year. you don't have to worry about paying him $50 million next offseason when you franchise him again this offseason. That's all I'll say. That's just my point. We can think, you guys can think about it for a while, but that's the point I wanted to make here. Next game, which I'm very happy to report, the Patriots won. Pats Jets 28-14 is the final score. The Pats advanced to 7-9. 28 it's 2 touchdowns. Give me a break. 28-14 is the final score. Patriots win, and they moved to 7-9 for the year. The Jets fell to 2-14, just out of reach of that number 1 overall spot. Because why else? It's the Jets. It's the goddamn Jets. They can't even lose, right? So funny. And I know it must be hard pressed for you guys to understand why I'd be complaining about this game, but I actually have some severe complaints. Cam Newton, where the fuck was this all season? Like, where was it? You're 21 of 30. That's the best completion percentage he's had all year. 242 yards and 3 touchdowns passing. He also caught a touchdown receiving from Jacoby Myers, the real quarterback of the Patriots. But it blows my mind. You wait till week 17. Week 17, the final week of maybe your career. We don't even know if he's going to be back next year. We have no idea. And you decide to ball out now after we're out of playoff contention. Where was this against the Denver Broncos?
You know what? You know what's funny? You know what's funny is that I thought about this as the game was going on, and I was like, he just looks like he's comfortable. He just looks like he's right there in the moment. He's just playing. He's just like, fuck it, I'm doing me. And that's probably what he probably needed to do throughout the beginning of this season, to just say fuck it and just play instead of trying to because I understand it I'm not a quarterback, but I understand where, his position was of getting on a new team and trying to establish himself as a leader, as a guy to be around. And, you know what I'm saying? You got to play into that. There's certain things you do when you go around, you start dancing and you inviting people over to your house and, you're just trying to be a sociable guy. And I just think that he was probably doing so much off the field and on the field where it was just affecting his play. Because in all honesty, let's not sit here and act like Cam Newton is not a legit baller. Like, he was a first pick overall in the NFL. So you can't, I just don't see it as you just go from the highest point to you're not even, what I'm saying? Like, you're not even a factor. And it was just 1 year where it was, 2 years, but where he was really just, wasn't himself. So I just think it was just it was just a bad team to be on overall, and it was just too much.
I mean, you're not wrong. It hurts to hear, but you're not wrong. This was a bad team. This is a very bad team. And it stinks because you talk about comfortability. The first week against Miami, blows them out. Plays a phenomenal football game. Goes to Seattle. In Seattle, one of the most harsh, hostile environments in the entire league. Goes for 400 yards and almost wins. He's 1 yard away from winning. And you're thinking to yourself, he has a chance to win MVP. That was my thought after week 2. I think it's a lot of Patriots fans. They're all like, wow, he can actually still play. We're all shocked.
Yeah, make sure you say week 2 again.
Exactly. Then reality set in. And we're just like, oh, God, here we go again. Denver happens. Buffalo, the fumble happens. You barely beat the fucking goddamn Jets. You beat him on a field goal. And it's just like, I wish this could have happened sooner. I wish you could be more comfortable earlier. But I also want to put some more blame on McDaniels. Josh McDaniels did not tailor the offense to fit him or to put him in a successful place to succeed. Yeah, he designed a lot of QB runs, which he should have done anyway. I mean, anyone could have told you that. But you refused to let him pass inside the 20. Anytime they were in the red zone, every team would put 10 guys in the box. They have a high safety, and that's about it. Because they knew they'd run the ball. There was literally a 0% chance they throw the ball inside the 20-yard line. That's a huge, huge problem. That's so predictable. That's the reason they lost the last, 3 games they lost. They lost against the Rams because they knew what was coming. They drove all the way down the field, and as soon as they got inside the 20, it was game busters. It was over. They get the field goal or got through an interception or fumbled. That was it. This team got too predictable too quickly. I blame McDaniels specifically, but also Cam Newton has his own, fair share. How am I trying to describe this? Cam Newton has his own fair share of blame to toss around here because, his shoulder's not the same. We saw in his mechanics. He's 6'5" or 6'6". He's a big guy.
Yeah.
And he's releasing the ball down here. His shoulder's not right. It hasn't been right for a long time. And I wonder during his, quote, COVID outbreak, when he was sick with COVID, whether or not that was a cover. That might have been an actual injury you didn't know about. I'm not joking. If you want to look at the tape here from weeks 1 to I think 5 or 6, I think he got COVID week 6 or 7, something like that, right? His throwing motion's a lot more fluid and a lot more better mechanics, a lot more just easy going, and the offense was moving with him. After that point, Denver was the first game back, and then San Francisco, we got blown out by your 49ers, and then Buffalo, and then the Jets, and then it keeps going on and on and on. His shoulder never looked right after a certain point in the season. So I do wonder whether or not he tweaked that shoulder. Maybe he got surgery, maybe not. I have no idea. But something definitely changed after week 5 or 6. So I don't know. I think it's just worthwhile talking about. So
are you going to bring up Bill Belichick in this conversation at all? In this?
Yeah. Do you want to do it right now?
Okay, cool.
Want to do it?
Go ahead.
Okay. Bill Belichick should not be the general manager anymore. Shouldn't be it. He should not be the GM anymore. I am perfectly comfortable with him being the head coach. Bill Belichick as a head coach the last 3 seasons has an A+ rating from Joe Stafford. A+. As a GM, a D-, and that's generous. You haven't drafted a Pro Bowler since 2013. Jamie freaking Collins, who isn't even on the goddamn roster anymore. 2013, last time he drafted a Pro Bowler. He should not be in charge of GM. And now, granted, that will never happen, because if Jonathan Kraft went to Bill Belichick and said, hey, I'm going to kind of start to take away your responsibilities as GM, he said, I quit. There's no shot in hell at his age, with his pedigree, that Belichick would say okay to that offer. He wouldn't. He'd say, fuck it, I'm leaving. He'd go somewhere else. And to be honest with you, I would too. If I'm 60+ years old and I'm a 6-time winning champion, I'd be like, fuck you guys. I don't care what you guys think. I'm coaching the game. Like, I wouldn't care either. But
start your own team. Fuck it.
Exactly. Well, but as a 20-year-old who actually has some pretty good insight in the NFL, in my own opinion, I think, I wouldn't have him be a GM for any team. He can't draft right. Yes, he can coach him up with the best of them. This team at 7-9 is generous, and they could have won 11 games. If you want to look back at it, there was a few plays that could have put them over to 11 games, which is crazy because the level of talent on this team is negative. This team has no talent at all. None at receiver, none at tight end. Running back was a surprise this year. None at quarterback, none at linebacker. You have severe holes in almost every part of your team, and you still won 7-9 and probably could have won 11 games.
Now we talking, Joe.
That's coaching. That's coaching. But as a GM, I'm done. I am done with Bill Belichick.
No, I hear you. He hasn't done anything, bro, as a GM. And, speaking on that, are we like, should we give a round of applause for the Jets finally releasing Adam Gase right after? Our job is up. I know I got an email. It was from the NFL. I didn't check it yet. I don't know if that was them offering me the job or not.
Amen to that. Adam Gase is officially out as Jets head coach here. And I'm sure everyone in Midtown Manhattan's having a celebration right now, thanking God and Jesus Christ and the Holy Spirit that they don't have to deal with Adam Gase anymore. And it's funny, as soon as the report came out that Gase was being fired, a report came out, I think 5-10 minutes later, that Nick Saban was looking at to be his next offensive coordinator at Alabama, which would be perfect. Honestly, Gase is not an NFL head coach. He's a great coordinator in college, though. I give him that job 100%, 10 out of 10 times. I would. So good luck to Adam Gase, I guess. As long as you're not coming to the Patriots, I don't care. Good luck, buddy. I don't care.
I want to know how much is Nick Saban getting underneath the table, because there's no way.
Fair question. You
have multiple shots to get in the NFL, seal the deal, get into the Hall of Fame, all of this great stuff that you can do in the NFL, that you do in college, and you don't take it. Like, it's been multiple times that he's been offered a job or has been asked to come in and interview for a job, and he just doesn't take it. Like,
maybe he's just comfortable. He could just be comfortable because he is the king. I think he's the Bill Belichick of college football. I mean, he's the greatest college football coach of all time. And granted, it's an easier time because he gets every draft class. He's the number one draft class every single year.
Which
Like
is
it's not
crazy.
the NFL. You don't get a first-round draft pick every single year, number 1 overall pick. They do. They get the first 5 overall picks every year because it's Alabama. So a little bit easier. But I do take your point into account here. Why hasn't he made that jump yet? Well, he was head coach of Miami for a few years. He beat Bill Belichick up and down the field. I think he was actually has a winning record against Bill Belichick in the NFL. If not, it's at least 500. He gets fired by Miami after a bad season, after a series of unfortunate events. Really, it wasn't really his fault. Goes to Alabama, becomes just the king of college football.
Mhm.
And I guess the question is begged, like, why would you leave? If you're already the top dog, like, why would you feel the need to leave in the first place?
Because it's the NFL. This is the place where you can put your talents against the best of the best throughout the world. You know what I'm saying? Now, the only thing that's ever going to be over his Nick Saban's head is they're going to be like, he's a winner in college, but he ain't do nothing in the pros. You know what I'm saying? Kids are going to grow up looking at that and like, well, why he never went to the NFL? You know what I'm saying? Like, why didn't he prove this in the NFL? And everybody knows that the NFL is the top of the top where you want to perform and be successful at.
No, for sure. You're 100% right on that. But I mean, I just think some guys are comfortable where they're at. I
No,
think Nick Saban's one of those guys. I think he's one of those
I would do the same thing, to be honest with you. If they was paying me the same amount of money that they was paying him, just stay there and coach. I do the same thing. I just want to know. I just wanted to bring the question up and see why not, because you're looking at every coach that's done did it in the NFL. I mean, that's done performed well in college. Goes to the NFL. They might not last there long. They might go back to college, but they end up going back to the NFL in some capacity. So
I think you're probably right on that.
You know,
I'd be intrigued to see him in the NFL. And speaking of which, Urban Meyer, who's the head coach at Ohio State for a number of years, is going to Jacksonville. I think it's not a done deal yet. It's not a done deal yet, but he's asking for, I think, upwards of $12 million a year, which is
that's not
crazy.
Bad. I actually would love to see that.
And it's intriguing now because Jacksonville's number 1 overall pick, but Urban Meyer coached Justin Fields in college. But Trevor Lawrence is his expected number 1 overall pick. What is going to happen in April? We have no idea yet. So I guess we have to wait and see for the official hiring. We'll kind of make that out as we go along here. But a storyline to follow for sure. Because
he get hired, he's definitely taking. That's not even on his plate when he gets there.
What do you mean?
That's not going to be on his plate.
So who do you think he's taking?
That's already a done deal. Owner is on it. GM is on it. President is on it. Chris, Trevor Lawrence is going to be the coach. I mean, is going to be the quarterback.
See, I wouldn't agree with you there. I think it's going to be a huge discussion. If you have a guy that's already ran your system and is comfortable with you, first of all, not only as a coach but as a father figure, that makes a huge difference in my mind. So I think it's worth a conversation at least. I think it will at least be a discussion. That's where we can compromise there. It will be a discussion at the very least. Anyway, next game here, Minnesota and Detroit. Minnesota wins the game 37-35, moves to 7-9. Shocker. Kirk Cousins goes 7-9 in the season. This guy's the most average quarterback of all time. It's I got an argument this morning about him because my friend was at the airport just like killing time. These are his records as a quarterback in the pros. 1-0, 0-3, 1-4, 9-7, 8-7-1, 7-9-0, 8-7-1. 10-5 and 7-9. God damn, it's mediocrity at its finest. Like it really is. Just look at the stat line. I just read it out to you. By definition, that is mediocrity. That's what it is.
Yeah.
Like I cannot exaggerate that enough. That's just he's the definition of average. And I hate when people try to make the conversation like, oh well, he's a good stabilizing person. If you're comfortable winning 8 games a year, yeah, he's your quarterback. Go for it. Not my team. I don't want him near my team. I want to excel. I want to be a dominant team. I don't want to be barely missing the playoffs every year. That's all he does for you. At $30 million a year, guaranteed, that's all he does for you is barely miss the playoffs. That's what he does for you. So I hate it. Anyway,
which is crazy to me because you're talking about you got Shaq out here talking about Gobert getting $200 million just for blocking shots and averaging 11 points. Well, shit.
Is he wrong though?
No, he's not, because you're looking at this. Kirk Cousins out here is having mediocre seasons and he's getting $30 million a year. Kids, if you want some real money, go to be a quarterback and be mediocre. I mean, and you can be mediocre and still get that money, which is crazy to me.
You sound like my dad. I was the not to brag or anything, but I was the South Boston Pop Warner quarterback for D team for 3 years. I was. I went 0-16. Very impressive record. Was an elite passer in that league. No, but no, I know what you're saying. I feel like I could be Kirk Cousins. I feel like I could do it. I'm 6'3". I'm tall. I could do it. I could do it.
Hey, look, and you still got time. You're young.
You know what? And you know what? I have great handoff form. I can toss
Get
it
the
down.
deal for 1 solid year, bro. You can go out there and find you a job.
I can do it. I know. You know what I need? I need you to help me in the gym. That's what I need. I need some gym help. Then I'll be good to go. Anyway, yeah, the Vikings. Kirk Cousins in crap time in games that don't matter. Again, excels. 405 yards and 3 touchdowns. I could write a play about this and have it come true next year. In terrible moments where nothing matters, Kirk Cousins is the best quarterback in the NFL. I swear to God. It's unbelievable. Obviously, Dalvin Cook was out this week due to the death of his father. RIP. Hope he's doing well. Alexander Madison, who I've never really heard of before ever. Kevin, where do you go to school? In the meantime, he ran 21 times for 95 yards and a touchdown, 4.5 yards a carry. He went to where?
Boise State.
Boise State. How old is he?
It's his third year.
Third year, so like 24?
22. Actually, second year. 22.
22. Maybe there's a future there. Who knows?
Yeah.
But
he's really good. Yeah, I've kept my eye on him.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah, Gav, did you?
Yeah.
You know him before?
Because my dad's a Vikings fan, so I keep track of him.
Oh, so you're a cold stone liar. I was going to say, there's no way you knew who this guy was.
No, I know. Yeah.
I was like, yeah.
I drafted Dalvin Cook, so I had to get Madison to back him up.
There we go. Anyway, receiving wise, Justin Jefferson had 9 receptions for 133 yards on 12 targets. This was a superstar. He's going to be a star for a long time.
Randy Moss. You passed up Randy Moss in I think it was receptions.
Yeah, I think he did. No, I think it was receiving yards. I think it was all-time receiving yards. Yeah. But it's just unbelievable. Other side of the football, future Patriot Matt Stafford, 20 of 31, 293 yards and 3 touchdowns. A pick, but not a bad pick. And I say that because I really want him as a Patriot. First of all, I want a free jersey. I want a free jersey because at first I get a free customized jersey. Instead of $150, I get a $100 jersey. So that's first of all. Second of all, he is the most underrated quarterback in a long time. Like he's a baller. Like he really is. And every time anybody successful in Detroit, they get underrated because first of all, it's a bad market. And second of all, the team stinks out loud. The franchise isn't functional. The ownership's bad. It's not functional at all. They hire the worst head coaches, Marvin Lewis and Matt Patricia, the most recent examples. I mean, this team isn't good. It's just not it. So I want to see what Matt Stafford could do in a functional organization, in probably the most successful organization in the past 20 years, which would be my New England Patriots. I'm just saying, worth putting out there.
I might mess around and win an MVP. You never know.
You never know. I mean,
it's just hard. It's hard to see it, man. And it's 2 players that's off the top of my head and there probably could be more from Detroit, but it's 2 players that's off the top of my head who left prematurely from the league. That's
where you're going.
And Barry Sanders.
Calvin Johnson and Barry Sanders.
How? Like you're supposed to? These are the guys that you're supposed to keep happy. You know what I'm saying? They're the guys that's bringing in the fans. They're the ones that's having people go out there and buy hot dogs and put paint on all over their face and get your team riled up. Like, how do you allow this to happen? Not once, but twice.
Honestly, Chris, there's not enough money in the world to keep me in Detroit for more than 10 years. There's not.
They need to let them have the Jordan rule or something.
No, they need to relocate. They need to get the hell out of Dodge. Actually, speaking of which, that's the wrong analogy. Get the hell out of Ford, because that's where it's stationed. That was a good one. That was a pun. Anyway, but yeah, I think it's time for the Lions to move on. But they took on a tough season. 5-11 is the final record there for them. They'll have a good draft pick. We'll see if they can do anything with it. Next game here.
Retire early.
Yeah, maybe. Probably. At this point, probably. But yeah, here we go. Next game. Pittsburgh and Cleveland. And the Browns fall. Actually, the Browns don't fall. The Browns trample the Steelers. 24-22 is the final score. And they clinch their first not divisional title, their first playoff berth since 2000, I believe, 7. Since Derek Anderson was their quarterback, which is crazy to think about. Crazy thinking about. But yeah, Cleveland clinches a very important win here. against actually Mason Rudolph, which is kind of a big storyline over the last week here, because Mason Rudolph obviously had a huge scuffle with Myles Garrett last year, in which case Myles Garrett hit him over the head with a helmet. Probably could have been charged with assault if it was not in a football stadium, but it is what it is. He also claimed that Myles Rudolph called him the N-word. That was kind of disputed. We're not really sure if that happened or not. Nonetheless, there's a lot of drama leading up to the game. Apparently, there was no like bad will or anything. Myles Garrett said, "Congratulations, a good game," to Rudolph, and Rudolph said the same to Garrett. So I guess the beef squash kind of. But interestingly enough, they play again next week in the wild card round. So I wonder if Ben Roethlisberger's back for this game. I'm not really sure. It's going to be interesting to see, I guess, but definitely intriguing to see them match up twice in a row. And not to mention with Rudolph and Garrett going back and forth with each other.
Yeah, I mean, what I was thinking about the whole time, it's starting to hold true for me, just by looking at what's transpired since that incident, is that Myles Garrett probably heard the N-word come from somebody else, and he thought it was him in his direction, and that happened. Whatever what he did it, and I'm pretty sure he's sorry for it. He paid for it as well.
You can say that again,
financially and on the field. So it's all a part of it. It just happens to get swept under the rug because it wasn't nothing really too big to make of it, because it wasn't what he thought it would be. So I was more than sure that it was going to be handled underneath the table after a couple of weeks that went by and nothing happened.
Personally, I just don't think Rudolph's stupid enough to say that to Myles Garrett, because Myles Garrett's 6'6", 270 pounds with like a 40-inch vertical, and like he benches like 400 pounds. Like, if you're stupid enough to say that to Myles Garrett, then like you should be beaten on a stake anyway. Like, I have no problem with you doing that. I have no problem with him being getting beat the shit beat out of him on the football field. I have no problem with that.
Or it could just be he just didn't say it. Like, I mean, you know what I'm saying? Like, if he did say it, I mean, I just don't. I mean, no, not even if he did. I just don't. There's no way possible I can see it of him actually saying it, because he could not be scared of Myles Garrett, and it could just be, I am a backup quarterback that's on the National Football League who's trying to be a starter. Maybe I might not want to say this and mess up my chances of being a starter in this NFL.
There's no way in hell I don't think he said that. I mean, I can't prove it. I have absolutely no knowledge of the situation. I just don't think he'd be stupid enough to say that to Myles freaking Garrett.
I never thought that came out of his mouth, even when it first initially happened. It just didn't sound right to me. Like, Pouncey probably could have said it more so than, you know what I'm saying? Like, right. More so than Randolph. So it just never held weight for me, to be honest with you.
For sure. Next game, Buffalo and Miami, 56-26. This was a total domination game. And Buffalo moves to 13-3. Miami falls 10-6. And I want to talk about one thing only, because we need to move on here, because it's a 16-game series here this week. So we need to make sure we keep our time assorted here. One question I have, Chris, and I'll extend to you too, Kev. Is Tua Tagovailoa a bust?
Ain't that funny? I was literally sitting right here on this couch at this computer saying to not put all this pressure on these young guys, and now here we go, where it comes down to the nitty-gritty of, all right, is this guy a bust or not? These are the questions that I knew was going to come after all these swirling thoughts of who this guy could be. He's not a bust. It's just this is just the NFL, and this is a hard league to get into. And once you're in, to stay in, to be honest with you, you have to get better, because talent is only getting better. It's always getting younger, stronger, faster, and smarter. So you have to be on your game when you are out there. And being that he is the quarterback was the quarterback of the Miami Dolphins, that puts you in the spotlight. especially it being in Miami, one of the most popular places to be. So that means all eyes are going to be on you, even when people aren't paying attention to you.
For sure. And before Kevin answers, I have a funny story about that. As a 20-year-old with a podcast with an NFL player, I thought I peaked here. I thought it was like, this was the top, right?
Mm-hmm.
Before I met you, Chris, before any of this happened, right? I got an invite from Edgar and James to go down to his strip club and interview him with the strippers. That's like just
I would have done it.
Well, no, it was like during COVID, his club got shut down like the next day.
I still would have done it.
Well, the club got shut down. I couldn't go. But
it got shut down
because of COVID. Yeah. The whole thing of like just a crazy story. Like I could tell my kids that when they're older, be like, a Hall of Fame running back invited me down to his strip club to interview him and do a bunch of stuff. That's awesome. That's crazy. Anyway, Kevin,
strip clubs in downtown LA that are still open right now.
You know, fuck that. I don't want to do that.
I may have, or I may have not went in there.
There we go. Anyway,
just to check out and see what the drinks was talking about.
Fair enough. All right, Kev. Short answer: is Tua a bust? Yes or no?
No.
Why?
Smart man.
I agree with Chris. You get a lot of spotlight in Miami, and he's kind of thrown into a weird situation where he couldn't be the starting quarterback from day one, and they're kind of flip flopping. So it's a tough situation for him. But I think he's got enough time to develop next year and be the actual number one quarterback.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. It's just weird that he has a relief pitcher right now. Like he's not like the starter, and then a closer comes in and finishes the game out for him.
But at least he got some experience though, rather than just sitting on the bench the whole year. You know what I mean?
That's true. But at least for my personal, I'm not sure if it's you guys share this opinion or anything. But as a young quarterback, you need to have those hard losses to make sure you win in those situations, years afterwards. Mm-hmm. If Fitzpatrick comes in to bail you out, you don't learn those lessons. You don't understand what it takes to win those clutch moments because it's a different ballgame in the last 2 minutes. People are clawing and scrapping to win that football game. And he missed out on an opportunity. It's something that's fair to say.
I like that.
Right?
I like that.
I'm insightful sometimes, Chris. It's a couple times an episode, but I have it sometimes. I do. Anyway, next game. Seahawks 49ers. Seahawks win. I mean, hate to say it, Chris, but 26-23 is the final score. Seahawks went to 12-4. 49ers fall to 6-10. DK Metcalf now holds the most reception yards in NFL history for the Seattle Seahawks, which is pretty cool. 1,300 yards for him on the year. A historic year for DK Metcalf for sure.
That for a while.
Yeah. This game really didn't have a lot of playoff implications, so I don't want to spend too much time on it. But the Seahawks play the Rams next week, which is a very interesting game. We'll get to that after this recap here, but a very interesting game for sure. Next game, Cardinals-Rams, 18-7 is the final score. Horrible game. Just a horrible game to watch if you like football. It's just not fun. It's not a fun game to watch. The Rams moved to 10-6 and clinch a playoff berth barely. And the Cardinals missed the playoffs at 8-8 after a crazy hot start. And Kyler Murray is, I'm sure, shaking his head in the locker room as he walks away from this season. But I want to shout out one thing: John Walford, who's still on LinkedIn. John Walford, if you guys didn't know, is the backup quarterback for the Los Angeles Rams. Jared Goff had a thumb injury; he couldn't play in the game this week. So John Walford, who's on LinkedIn as I think a business manager or something like that. I have no idea what the hell he's on LinkedIn for. But he's still on LinkedIn. Started the game and actually won the game for the Rams. Didn't have a great game. He was 22-38, 231 yards, and no touchdowns and a pick. But you know what? When you're a quarterback, you still get credit for these wins. And he won. And he put him in the playoffs. So good for John Walford. I'm happy for him.
Exactly. For sure. It was just a battle of the backups, to be honest with you, with this game, because my guy, Chris Shreveler, was out there, got his first touchdown. I was happy for him. He was a guy, he was a CFL player, CFL quarterback. We played together briefly with the Winnipeg Blue Bombers. And so I got to hang out with him and, pick his brain for a little bit. And, it was just good to see him out there finally living out his dream of being a quarterback in the NFL. And, came close, even though it was unfortunate that Kyler Murray got hurt and, he got in that way. But, that's part of the game. It's next man up. And so I'm just happy that he took advantage of it when he could.
I agree with you, but brief intermission here before we move on here. So sad news. This just broke on Twitter. According to TMZ, Dr. Dre has just suffered a brain aneurysm and is in ICU in LA.
Yeah, I've seen that.
Which is horrible as one of the fathers of modern rap, which is it's just terrible. So prayers and not condolences yet, hopefully, but prayers are with Dr. Dre and his family at this time, because that's horrible, because he's the reason a lot of rappers exist now. Like, he's the reason why the rap game is where it's at right now. He's been the visionary. He's been the focus of the rap game for the past 30 years. So I hope Dr. Dre pulls it out, though. That's very sad. That's very sad to see. Anyway, Jaguars Colts. 20-14 is the final score. The Colts won. I mean, like, are we shocked now? 11-5. The Jaguars fall to 1-15, locking up officially that number 1 overall seed. I don't want to talk about this game because there's no point in talking about this game, but I do want to mention one thing. Jonathan Taylor, who me and Chris have been on since literally week 1. You guys go back to the tape and rewind it. You guys can do whatever the hell you want. We've been on it. We said he's the best running back in this draft class, bar none. And I think we were right. And this cemented it. Jonathan Taylor in week 17, a franchise record. He had 253 yards rushing in this game. This dude just eats up yards like he eats up cornflakes. It's crazy. It's easy for him. Colts offensive line, yeah, it's good. No doubt in my mind. But it still takes a special running back as a rookie to have the impact that he's had on this team.
Yes.
I don't want to exaggerate too much here, but he's carried this Colts offense. Philip Rivers has been so mediocre. It hurts. It hurts. And Jonathan Taylor, and I will shout out Nyheim Hines as well, because he's had a huge impact on this team as well. But that run game, anchored by Jonathan Taylor, has been the reason why the Colts are even in the playoffs in the first place.
Yeah. Absolutely.
So shout out to Jonathan Taylor.
Absolutely. Hey, is it just me, or is it the Jacksonville Jaguars defensive coordinator just allows people to run the ball all over him every year at the end of the year? Have you noticed that?
I mean,
last year,
to be honest with you,
ran for 200 yards. The year before that, Derrick Henry ran for another 200 yards. Now you got Nyheim Hines running for 200 yards, and it's always at the end of the year against Jacksonville.
To be honest with you, there's 2 points here. One, Derrick Henry owns the Jaguars. He's the owner of the team. He runs for 200 yards average against this team. Like, it's embarrassing. It really is embarrassing. Number 2, if I was 1-14, I really wouldn't give a shit anyway. I mean, you're 1-14. You have more to gain by losing at this point.
That's
so yeah,
after year though.
I mean, to be honest with you, Jacksonville hasn't been good since 2016, 2017, that AFC Championship year. That's it. That's the only time they've been good since 1996, 1997. By the way, that team's great. If you guys are young enough if you don't remember that shit, look it up.
Yeah.
The late 90s Jaguars were electric. Mark Brunell, Tony Baselli, Jimmy Smith, McCardell. What was his first name? Who was McCardell's first name? Jimmy Smith. Oh, Keenan McCardell. Electric offense, great defense. That was a great team. If you guys ever want to look at some old highlights there, they called them Thunder and Lightning. Him and Jimmy Smith.
Thunder and Lightning, boy.
They were
My pops
unreal.
love that stuff.
they were unreal. They were a great team. Anyway, Texans win in a nail biter, 41-38. The Titans win to 11-5. The Texans fall to 4-12. The Titans clinch the AFC South for the first time since CJ2K's year in 2008, which is pretty spectacular here. And speaking of 2K, Derrick Henry, King Henry, the garbage truck in the residential area, that's what we used the analogy for him, has eclipsed 2,000 yards for only, I think, the 8th or 9th time in NFL history. Phenomenal. Congratulations to King Henry. He deserves it. He owes it all to this team. He's been truly spectacular this entire season, and it capped off with a great finish this week in week 17 against the Texans here. Now that we've praised them, let's talk about the other side of the football here. Deshaun Watson threw for, I believe, 38 touchdowns this year, 36, something like that, with a terrible team. This team went 4-12. They were horrible. They were not good this year. The Band of Misfit Toys Act with Brandon Cooks and David Johnson and Randall Cobb, it didn't work. This year it didn't work. That the bottom line is it did not work out. It was not in the cards for them to succeed this year. And I saw a very emotional clip. Deshaun Watson, J.J. Watt walking out of the stadium, and J.J. Watt's apologizing to Deshaun Watson. We wasted one of your years. Yeah, you fucking did. You did. You wasted one of the years. You wasted one of the most influential, impactful quarterbacks' years in his prime. You did. You wasted it. I mean, it sucks. Love J.J. Watt. Love this Texans team. But you know what? You did. You squandered it. You have it's hard to describe how big of an impact Deshaun Watson has on a football team. The fact you can throw for 36 touchdowns without any consistency of the offensive side of the football at all is miraculous. So I really hope he gets out soon. I hope the Patriots make a trade for him. And it's not realistic. I really hope it happens.
God, everybody is going to the Patriots now. You just need everybody. First it was Uncle Drew. Now is this guy.
Time out. Who
else do you need, bro?
What'd you say last week about the 49ers?
All right, listen, but I named one person. This is the second person you done named for your team. Well, who's going to be the third?
All right, Matt Stafford's not exactly a highlight player.
Derek Carr should go ahead and run y'all team.
I don't want Derek Carr. I'd rather take Marcus Mariota at that point. Jesus Christ. Anyway, speaking of Marcus Mariota and Derek Carr, the Raiders pulled out a 1-point victory against the Denver Broncos. 32-31 is the final score. The Raiders move on to 8-8, and the Broncos fall to 5-11. The first win against Denver in Week 17 in team history. The first time in history.
That's like a huge rivalry.
It kind of is, but it's a very low-key rivalry because they haven't been successful. Yeah. But like they haven't been successful since the 80s and 90s. So it's kind of a weird rivalry because they're like not good. So it's hard to be a rivalry when people aren't good. But anyway, 32-31 is the final score. But a very weird and sad plot twist after this game. Josh Jacobs got arrested yesterday on a DUI. And I'm not sure how that implicates his future standing with the league or with the Raiders or anything, but he had a DUI, and it just puts another black spot on this Raiders team. You go 8-8. It's a disappointing season. Probably Derek Carr's last year as a Raider if you're paying him $25 million. I wouldn't do that. And Josh Jacobs is supposed to be your franchise running back, your franchise, I guess, centerpiece at this point if Derek Carr isn't your quarterback anymore. Is a DUI. Probably the worst case scenario for the Raiders, if I had to say. Probably the worst case scenario.
I'm not going to blame the Raiders. I am going to blame the Raiders, but I'm not going to blame the players.
Well, I'm just saying so. It's just the worst case scenario, period. Like it just sucks.
Absolutely. I hear you. But overall, I've been saying this ever since they've been talking about moving this team. Why on earth would you go to one of the most talked about dangerous cities for sports in the world? Like, it doesn't make sense. This is Vegas, the place that holds the money for all bets, right there, right across the street from your stadium. Players are staying next to these guys, rubbing elbows with these guys in the club or in the casino. Like, these things are going to happen. You know what I'm saying? And you know, I'm more than sure that the Raiders are prepared for stuff like this because, you know, this isn't the first time the Raiders have, you know, been in the spotlight for something, you know, egregious going on between their players. So I'm sure they're going to be able to handle it accordingly. But it's kind of like I told you so because you went to Vegas.
I mean, all right, let's classify my position here. I'm not sure I agree with the premise of what you're saying, but I agree with the overall standpoint. You shouldn't move to Vegas anyway because it's all tourists. You don't have a fan base. Who the hell lives in Nevada? No one lives in Nevada. Like, it's all tourists. And during COVID, it's obviously different. And I'm sure next year when COVID's pretty much over, hopefully, and over the next couple of years, you'll have more tourist attractions, you'll have more, you know, fan attendance and all that stuff. But like, honestly, who lives in actual Las Vegas? Who lives in Nevada?
Everybody.
Not everybody. You go there in the summer to have a fun weekend. You don't live there. You don't live there for a
fun weekend, but people live there. It is one of the cheapest places that you can live at, and there's no state tax.
No, I'm not saying it's not influential to live there. What I'm trying to say is people don't live there in general. It's a low population. People don't live there. That's not like where people live. People want to live in California. People want to live in Massachusetts. People want to live in Texas, Florida, etc. No one wants to live in Nevada. It's a desert. I don't know. That's all I'm going to say about it. I just don't. I don't see the appeal. I don't.
No, I hear you. I hear you, but I'm just ready for you to get on to this next quarterback so I can talk about the one quarterback that I really want to talk about.
Okay, well, I'm moving to the next game. So if you want to talk about it, I'm doing it now. Anyway, next game, Chargers-Chiefs. 38-21 is the final score. The Chargers take the W. But before you guys get your panties in a wad, Pat Mahomes was not on the field. It was Chad Henne.
It
was Chad Henne. But by the way, Chad Henne was 29 of 32 or 23 32 for 218 yards and 2 touchdowns.
Yeah.
He could have very easily won this football game, if not for a guy named Justin Herbert. 22 of 31, 302 yards and 3 touchdowns, no turnovers. This kid is a star in the making and is a bona fide franchise quarterback. That's all I have to say.
Yeah.
They fired their head coach. They fired Anthony Lynn, I think yesterday officially. I think they're probably going to bring in Buffalo's offensive coordinator. I forget his name. They'll probably bring him in because he just has so much more talent to work with in Buffalo. And I'm sure he'll be able to relate back into the Chargers. But if I was, an offensive coordinator looking for a job as a head coach, this is my number one destination. Franchise quarterback who's 23 years old, brand new facility, LA weather, always 60 or more. Mike Williams, Keenan Allen, Austin Eckler. The list goes on and on and on. This is so desirable, and also no pressure because LA fans don't give a fuck. They never pay attention to their teams. They don't pay attention. They don't pay attention to any of the teams. They don't. And if they do, they're paying attention to the Rams, not the Chargers, because that's the more influential team in that market. So you basically have no pressure in the perfect situation to walk into. That's my pick. That's all I'm gonna say. That's my pick for me.
No, I'm right there with you, man. He's definitely Justin Herbert is definitely will be an elite quarterback as years goes on, and for anybody who's ready to take this role on, we'll have a phenomenal time there for sure.
For sure. Also, just shout out one more time, threw 31 touchdowns this year. That's an NFL record, historically most in NFL history as a rookie. 31 passing touchdowns.
Okay.
Phenomenal.
Sean Watson, 38 touchdowns this year. Justin Herbert, 31. Got you. Let's keep it going.
Yeah, Herbert, but what was that point to make? What was that about?
There was no point. I'm just trying to make sure. I'm trying to remember all of this stuff.
Oh, okay. All right, sounds good. Anyway, next game, Packers-Bears, 35-16. No surprises. Next game. I'm not even going to talk about this. There's no point talking about this.
Okay, but I do. I want to talk about Aaron Rodgers. That's who I want to talk about. I was ready for you to bring this guy up. I knew you was going to try to run past him. Let's get on here.
The GOAT?
The greatest quarterback of all time that's ever touched the field.
That's what you say.
Deshaun Watson, 38 touchdowns this year.
Oh, I see where you're going with this.
Justin Herbert, 31, huh?
Oh, I love where you're going with this. This is a great segue.
The greatest quarterback to touch the field.
Go on.
Threw 51 touchdowns.
No, he didn't. He threw 48.
What's that say?
No, did he actually? Wait, is that real?
51.
No, that's total. It's total.
No, that's total. No, that's total. That's rushing.
He had 3 rushing, yeah.
But 51. I don't care. 51.
I don't care. I love
51. 5 interceptions.
Hey,
Tell me who's doing that. Tell me who else is doing that. Is Tom Brady over there doing that?
Tom Brady's 10 years older than Aaron Rodgers.
Is Tom Brady doing that?
Not anymore.
All right. Not anymore. I've never seen. No, hell no. 51. 4,442 total yards. 71%.
Hey, no,
completion.
Chris, I'm with you because at the beginning of the season, we made predictions, if you guys remember that. Our predictions, I said Rodgers would be top 2 in MVP voting. He's gonna win the damn award.
Kev,
What's the
coach? Head coach name for Green Bay? What's his name?
LaFleur.
Yeah,
LaFleur. Oh man, I am so ready for LaFleur to just hand it to Aaron Rodgers. Be like, look, man, there's something going on. I'm not liking it. I'm ready for it because right now Aaron Rodgers is on his last leg with LaFleur, and he's like, man, if we fuck something else up again, I'm out of here. And guess where he needs to go?
If you say the 49ers, I'm gonna rip your throat out.
I don't even have to say it because it would be an amazing.
You mean New England
story? It would be an amazing story for that to happen.
If he goes to the Patriots, yeah, you're right.
If he goes to the 49ers, where Because what college did he go to? To Cal? Damn, that's crazy. Where did Devontae Adams? Where did Devontae Adams go? He went to Fresno. That's in California, right? Fresno State. That's in California, right? How would that happen? How would they be able to do that? How would they be able to pull that off, Joe? Let's just say Aaron Rodgers just wants to leave because he's done with LaFleur. Devontae Adams is coming up for a contract. I mean, his contract is coming up. So can we possibly see that go down with the 49ers?
100%.
I don't know. But I do want to put it out there in the atmosphere, just sprinkle it on you guys for a little bit to watch our dynasty grow even more, because we have these two perennial players that just decided to come over here because something happened over there in Green Bay. Green Bay is a great team. I've said it plenty of times. I'm going to say it again. If I wasn't a 49er fan, I'd be a Green Bay fan. They just know how to win. They just know how to do things. I like the players they bring out. Now, I am a 49ers fan. Just so happens to be that two of your best players that's on Green Bay is from California. I would love to see that happen, Joe. That's all I'm saying. Just admit that Aaron Rodgers is the best is the best quarterback that's ever touched the field.
Most talented, yeah. Not best.
To touch the field, Joe.
Most talented touch the field.
To touch the field.
Most talented touch the field. But you know what? Talent doesn't equal success. 1 ring versus 6 rings. That will always be the deciding factor. And you should know because he won one of those rings against you.
That means Aaron Rodgers has 10 years to come up with 5 more Super Bowls, which he could very well possibly do.
No, he can't.
This year, he can come up with one this year and years to come if he ends up going to the 49ers, where we are historically known for winning.
You never know. I mean, I guess you'll never know. I guess not.
51 touchdowns.
Hey, I'm happy for him. I'm a Rodgers guy. I like Rodgers a lot.
Kev.
What's up?
How many touchdowns does Tom Brady have? I know you're a Tom Brady fan. Y'all in cahoots. But how many touchdowns does he have?
Total this season, 43. That's still pretty good.
51.
For a 43-year-old man.
It's like he has enough touchdowns for his age.
1.
Oh, whatever. Anyway.
What is Patrick Mahomes have?
Let's see.
Look how fast he types, guys.
He's
Mine's is definitely like a click.
40.
Like this. I type with my index fingers.
Mahomes only got 40.
Yeah.
He put the mic down, ladies and gentlemen. He put the mic down. I love that. All right. Well, while Chris is taking his water break. Oh, he's back. There we go.
Joe. He is the best quarterback to touch the field, bro. He does it year in and year out.
Okay. We get it. Chris, we get it.
Good years, he's still the best quarterback.
Okay.
I don't know what else you want me to do. I know you get it, but I just want to hear y'all say it. Both of you guys.
Next game.
Not gonna happen.
Next game. Washington and the Philadelphia Eagles. 20-14 is the final score. And we're gonna be quick on this because we have not enough time left, but we'll be quick on this right now. The Philadelphia Eagles, and more specifically Doug Henderson, took out Jalen Hurts and inserted not Carson Wentz, but Nate Sudfeld, their third-string quarterback, in a very close game at the beginning of the fourth quarter. Beginning of the fourth quarter, they are down, I believe, 17-14. 17-14 by a field goal. And they put in their third-string quarterback. And Joe Judge, I think, said it perfectly. First of all, a Bill Belichick guy, after my own heart. But Joe Judge hit the nail on the head here. It is disrespectful not only the other team, but for the sake of football in general. It's disrespectful to the game. The fact a coach would knowingly throw a football game is embarrassing to his players, to his franchise, and to his city. It's sickening. I cannot believe in this day and age in 2020 we're seeing it happen, but I'm disgusted.
It's going to happen again with the Raiders.
What?
It's going to happen again with the Raiders. Watch.
It could very well, but I'm just very disappointed in Doug Henderson.
Absolutely.
I want to say congratulations to the Washington football team, which managed without an actual name, without an identity, made the playoffs. That's pretty impressive. I mean, I couldn't do that. And now they're placing Tom Brady, which I guess we'll get to the next picks. And speaking of which, that wraps up Week 17 and through the eyes of Stafford and Matthews. We're on the wildcard weekend. Regular season's done.
Rapid fire.
Rapid fire. Here we go. I think we have 6 games this week. Here we go. Colts Bills 1:00 on Saturday. Who are you taking? I'm taking the Bills 100%. The Colts are frauds. We've been saying it for weeks now. The Colts have been frauds. They're going to get destroyed on Saturday. Rams Seahawks.
We'll go with Seahawks.
I'm going to Seahawks too, but I really would not be surprised if Russell Wilson. I would not be surprised if Russell Wilson lets us down again. I'm just saying. I would not be surprised. I would hate for it to happen. I love Russell Wilson.
Hold up. I just want to let it be clear. I did not say that.
I did.
I believe in you, Russell. I believe in you.
I would love to believe in Russell too, but the last 4 or 5 weeks is making me feel very doubtful. Very doubtful.
I don't know.
Anyway, next game here. Saturday Night Football. That sounds great to say. Saturday Night Football. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers versus the Washington football team. Who you got? Tampa, I think, in a landslide. But I think Chase Young gets 2 sacks.
Yeah, I don't think it's going to be a landslide, especially with Chase Young out there.
We'll see.
I think that is going to be a fight for sure. But, we'll see.
Sunday, the first game, 1:00 football, the Ravens and the Titans. Who you got?
Ooh. Where is it going to be at? Is it in Tennessee?
I believe it's in Tennessee, yes.
Yeah, I think I might go with Tennessee on this one. I'm sorry, Ravens.
I'm going to go with the Titans, and I think it only confirms my early theory here that Lamar Jackson is not clutch. And I've said it multiple times. Yeah. I've said it over the course of the entire season that Lamar Jackson needs to show me in the playoffs that he can win consistently.
We'll see.
He's been in the playoffs twice. He's lost twice. I need to see more from Lamar in the playoffs. And I really do hope, because I'm a Lamar fan at heart, I hope he wins the game for the sake of his own stock and everything, but I don't see it happening.
I mean, if you just have a more consistent year of winning, then you put yourself in a better place to play lesser talent, lesser talent teams that help you move on and change the narrative that's going on around your name.
You're right. Bears Saints 4:40 on Sunday. Who do you got? Saints, and it's not going to be close. The fact the Bears made the playoffs is embarrassing. 8:15 football, Sunday Night Football, the last game wildcard weekend. The Browns and the Steelers. Who you got?
I got the Steelers.
Give me the Cleveland Browns.
I knew you.
Give me the Cleveland Browns without their head coach, with 3 of their receivers in COVID protocol. Give me the Cleveland Browns. The Pittsburgh Steelers are frauds. I can't wait to see them get exposed on Sunday Night Football in the first round of the playoffs. I cannot wait. I am waiting to see Ben Roethlisberger's ugly face get demoralized by Myles Garrett. I cannot wait. I cannot wait to see this on live television. I can't wait. Anyway, that's the wild card round, which is crazy to think about. This is Week 17 is over. We're in the wild card round. That's a wild card round through the eyes of Stafford and Matthews here. Chris, any final thoughts?
Aaron Rodgers is 13-3, number 1 seed, 51 touchdowns, 5 interceptions, 4,442 total yards, 71% completion.
That's your final thought.
He's the best quarterback in the NFL that's ever touched the best quarterback that's ever touched the NFL.
My final thoughts: Tom Brady's better. Stafford and Matthews, Week 17. That wraps up here. As always, Joe Stafford, Chris Matthews, and obviously intern Kev. Kev, thanks for being on the show as well. Obviously, we're powered by Colin Covers at Instagram. Check him out for any sports betting advice you guys need. He makes you money. That's the only thing I can say that will make you, convince you to go over to his page. He makes you money. That's all that I really care about anyway. Also check out bostonsbig3.com/shop. We have a lot of cool merch on there as well. Chris's own personal line. I have multiple personal lines here. Maybe we get an intern Kevin line going. We have no idea. We have
might as well, man. We can put some stuff. Hey, Kev, I got a whole bunch of stuff over here. I got houses, I got cars, I got lawnmowers, I got new grass that you can put on there and put your little name on each blade. Yeah, everything over here. Blinds. I got pictures. I got statues. I got everything over here.
We got everything here at bostonbig3.com/shop. So thank you guys for listening. We'll see you next week with our updated playoff rankings here, and we'll give you our full playoff predictions. That means who we think will win the Super Bowl next week. So keep that in mind. We'll see you guys next week. Enjoy the weekend. Enjoy wildcard weekend. An unbelievable showcase here. Saturday football, Saturday night football, and obviously Sunday football. Nothing better than that. Enjoy it with the family members. Stay safe, stay secure. We'll see you guys next week.